Brother lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. We're going to be diving into the latest around Arsenal. A couple of stories for us to dive into as we enter the new month. Fabrizio Romano confirming that William Saliba is about to sign a new deal with Arsenal and Kieran Tierney will be leaving in the summer. We have a story from Gary Jacobs confirming that Arsenal will be looking to offload Nuno Tavares and Albert Sambi-Lokonga. And we're going to be talking about Raheem Sterling and Alexis McAllister as well. In the comment box below, let me know, talk to me about Raheem Sterling. Is he a signing that Arsenal should make? Is he a player that you think Arsenal should be looking to make to sign in the summer? He's got the experience. He's worked with Mikel Arteta as one of those players that have really played at a high level in the Premier League, especially at Manchester City. Is he a player that would improve Arsenal as we get into the UEFA Champions League? We're going to be discussing that, and I want your thoughts and opinions in the comment box below. Let's get this video to 800 likes. Subscribe to the podcast. You can also find me on the 90 More podcast on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe there. More of these conversations on that channel as well. So right, let's get into it. Now, a couple of stories have been making rounds, but I think the biggest one has been around Raheem Sterling, and he's the player that every club right about now is talking about, right? So according to Graham Bailey from the 90 Min podcast, he says Arsenal are monitoring Raheem Sterling as part of their Champions League preparations. Mikel Arteta has enjoyed Jorginho's influence and would like more experience next season to help this young squad as they get into the UEFA Champions League. So that's according to 90 Min coming in from Graham Bailey. Now, listen, I think this is a story that everyone has been talking about for the past 48 hours. And I kind of felt like it was triggered by the fact that Raheem Sterling is in the Chelsea side that is not doing very well, and probably that's why there's so many links with players away from their squad. Mason Mount, Raheem Sterling, Kai Havertz, and a couple of others. But it looks like this is a signing for Chelsea under Tony Boehly that didn't work out, and it was a big mistake for him to go there. Actually, let me tell you something. In the summer, I thought Arsenal were going to sign Raheem Sterling and not Gabriel Jesus. I thought the player we were going to go for was Raheem Sterling because we wanted a left winger. We wanted someone with experience. We wanted someone on a cheap deal, on a bargain. And he cost around £50 million, I think, from Manchester City to Chelsea. That was a very, very good deal. But when he went on to Chelsea and Arsenal signed Gabriel Jesus, it was kind of a fair deal. But would I take him at Arsenal? Yes and no. And this is very, very controversial from me, right? I think Raheem Sterling is one of the best players that I've seen in the Premier League era in the last 6 years or 7 years. Consistently performing for Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, consistently scoring goals, consistently making assists, and consistently playing very well at a top level. But is he that same player? And look, all the other factors are the reasons why I would take him. All the other factors are the reasons why I think Arsenal should sign him. But is he that same player right about now at Chelsea under Graham Potter and Todd Boehly's management? Is he the same player? In my opinion, no. If you sign him right now, probably it's going to come on a bargain around 10-15 million pounds. For me, I'll take him. I don't think Chelsea will let him go for 15. It will be around 20-25. But either way, it's going to be a bargain. He's 28 right now. You sign him for 20 million pounds or 25 million pounds. Adds to the UEFA Champions League squad depth, adds to the experience. He's a winner. He's got the winning mentality. And I think he's one of those English players that have just beaten time. Literally, they always don't go beyond 26, 27 in terms of performing well. Raheem Sterling has actually performed well right until 28. And I think he's also one of the key players that should be considered at Chelsea. The problem is that the manager there doesn't have a starting 11. He doesn't have an understanding of who the most influential players are and what he can get the best, how he can get the best out of them. Mikel has worked with Raheem Sterling. That's going to be a very huge, decision maker. Does he sign him again? Does he go down the same route of signing Zinchenko, Gabriel Jesus, and Raheem Sterling? Does he decide to go for someone new, just like he had decided to go for Mikhail Modric? It's quite interesting. But this is what I would say. With Leandro Trossard, already 28, on that left side, Raheem Sterling, 28, on the left-hand side, it would make no sense unless we are being convinced that Leandro Trossard then leaves or shifts into a forward, like it shifts into a center forward. But apart from that, having two 20-year-olds backing up Gabriel Martinelli, in my opinion, that would not be the right case. Now, if I had to choose between Sterling and Trossard, make no mistake, I'll take Raheem Sterling all day. I think there's so many advantages of having a player like Raheem Sterling, who's won the Premier League on a couple of occasions, who's won, I was about to say who has won the Champions League. He's not won the Champions League, but he's been there, right? And that's why I'll take him over Leandro Trossard. But right about now, I kind of feel like it's a deal that, yes, it adds experience and depth, but it's one that we can do away. I think Arsenal should be thinking about players like Moussa Diaby, young, very athletic. Yes, he doesn't have the experience. He's not a winner. But what you're looking at here is you're looking for the long term. You're looking at the long term. I would sign Chiesa. Honestly, I would sign Chiesa. If you're looking for some of the best right wingers right now in the world, yes, Federico Chiesa has dropped off a little bit due to injuries, but I would sign Chiesa. I would sign Moussa Diaby. I would sign maybe Florian Wirtz at Bayer Leverkusen. Those are the kind of players that I want. Young, and they fit into the project. So Raheem Sterling right now, for me, it's a yes and no. If you say yes in the comment box that you would sign him, I don't have a problem with that, and I would really, really understand, right? Because the reason as to why Mikel Arteta wants to sign him is very, very, very clear. Mikel wants to sign him as part of his Champions League preparations, all right? So he wants a player who's been there. He wants players who have been there. He wants players who have lived the experience. He wants players that are not going to be, I think, shocked and annihilated by clubs like Bayern, Barcelona, Real Madrid, and all these other clubs. Because when we go back in the UEFA Champions League, 7 years after Arsenal being there, we might face some of the biggest clubs. PSG, Benfica, Bayern. We have a chance to be the underdogs, okay? And that is actually very, very bad from us. But anyway, we'll see what happens after that. Raheem Sterling is a player that Mikel Arteta would love to sign. Now, the other player that Mikel Arteta still is following and monitoring and would love to sign him in the summer is Alexis McAllister. Now, today I've received a very huge update from Fabrizio Romano, and he says McAllister has a good chance of leaving Brighton this summer as he would love a move to a big club. That is according to Fabrizio Romano. Now, I do love Alexis McAllister, and I was over on Igal's channel, and we were talking about McAllister, and I said, if there is a player that I am okay with Arsenal signing, that is McAllister. But the problem with McAllister is, do you sign him and sign Declan Rice? If it's a double, bring them in. Absolutely bring them in, because in the next season, Partey drops out of the starting lineup for Rice, and Xhaka drops out of the starting lineup for Alexis McAllister. Now, I understand Arsenal want to give Xhaka a new deal, and that is going to be quite, I think it's confusing, because if we look at Xhaka getting a new deal until 2026, does that mean he's not going to get out of the starting lineup? Is he going to be like the Toni Kroos kind of guy? I don't want that. I really, really don't. I've always said that that role is better suited for a player who has abilities like Ike Gundogan, right? I don't think McAllister is at that level. I don't think his talent is at that level of Ike Gundogan. But when you look at what he did with this Argentine side, when they were winning the World Cup, that is what we are looking for. We are looking for a midfielder that works hard. We're looking for a midfielder that has got the creative part of him and the defensive part of him. Like, his game is all round. His game is purely balanced. The problem with this deal is that Brighton view this World Cup winner as the greatest of all time. They want 75 million for Alexis McAllister. It's a disgrace. It's a pure disgrace. Arsenal cannot pay this, and Arsenal should not pay this much. There's so many good central midfielders that Arsenal can sign for less than 50 million pounds. And look, winning the World Cup doesn't mean that, look, yes, the price is going to go up for a player when he wins it, but it shouldn't mean you go crazy with the prices. It doesn't mean that a player's suddenly become Neymar, he's become Messi, he's become Xavi, he's become Iniesta because he won the World Cup. In my opinion, I don't know what you people think, but McAllister would be a very good fit for Arsenal. Xhaka has qualities of a good central midfielder, but I think he lacks that end product in the final third. Like you see Ike Gundogan creating chances, scoring goals, crucial goals for Manchester City, and McAllister as well. You look at the players that have been, really performing consistently for Brighton, both under Graham Potter and De Zerbi right now. It's Alexis McAllister. The rate at which he scores goals is reasonable. The rate at which he creates chances is absolutely reasonable as well. So I'll take McAllister, but not for £75 million. It's out of the question. It's out of the picture. We cannot go that crazy. Okay, 70 million for Declan Rice, 40 million for McAllister, and that's a very, very good window in terms of midfielders, okay? But I also still have a feeling that Mikel might not sign a central midfielder. The way he's trying to push Xhaka into signing a new deal every single time his deal runs out, I kind of feel like he's got that Jurgen Klopp in him where he doesn't want to let go of some players and he would let go of others. I think with Xhaka, he's a beloved player. Just like Ed Anderson at Jurgen Klopp, with Jurgen Klopp, they don't want to let them go. They want to keep them for a very, very long time. But I would be okay with signing a central midfielder. I would be okay with Alexis McAllister coming in as well. Now, Fabrizio Romano still has been talking about Arsenal in the last few hours, and he said William Saliba is very confident of signing a new deal. Arsenal also confident of signing, extending William Saliba's deal. The negotiations are not at the final stage yet, but it is positive. It is purely positive. And he says the player always wanted to stay at Arsenal. He wants to be there. He wants to be great and win great things with the club. So that is quite some big positive when it comes to Fabrizio Romano and reporting on William Saliba. I think I've always thought Saliba was going to be the problematic one. Saka eventually agrees. Martinelli eventually agrees. Saliba was always going to be the problematic one. But after looking at Saka and Martinelli, sign a new deal, it's highly likely that he will sign as well. Now, Fabrizio also says that Kieran Tierney is likely to leave in the summer. This is not the best story for Arsenal fans right about now, but there's nothing to do about it. There is purely nothing to do about it. I've told you, with Kieran Tierney, we're having a player who has the potential of becoming world class, and just because the manager doesn't want him, just because the manager doesn't think he's the guy, it doesn't mean he's not good enough. It doesn't mean that he can't play in other systems. For one, if he goes to Newcastle, he becomes a star. If he goes to a club like Aston Villa, for me, he's better than Luca Digne in terms of consistency and producing that quality every day, every single day of the week. So he's gonna leave. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't want Nuno Tavares to kind of come to fill the boots of Kieran Tierney because they might be a little bit big. Tierney is a real fullback. Like, real fullback. And it's going to be a lot of criticism on Nuno Tavares. Whenever he makes a mistake, everyone is going to say, look at what's happening. We'll let Kieran Tierney go. And now Nuno Tavares is doing all this kind of mistakes. So I wouldn't want that. Maybe Arsenal could go in the market and find a backup right back. I don't know what we will do. But Fabrizio says chances are high. And it is absolutely likely that Kieran Tierney will be leaving Arsenal in the summer. What are your thoughts on that one? What do you think about that? Let me know in the comment box below. Now, still talking about transfers and players who could be leaving. Gary Jacobs says Arsenal are likely to offload Albert Sambi-Lokonga, the midfielder who is on loan at Crystal Palace, and Nuno Tavares, the left back, on loan at Marseille. That is according to Gary Jacobs. Now, this is disturbing a little bit, right? This is really disturbing. With Albert Sambi-Lokonga, I definitely agree and I definitely understand. I think the system has actually put him out. I think he's so slow on the ball. I think he's careless on the ball. And I think he's one of those players that when they're playing football, it doesn't seem like they care. It doesn't really feel like, I don't know whether he feels he knows a lot or he's just careless or he's just proud. Look, I think there is a player in there. I think there's a player in Albert Sambi-Lokonga. Is he a big team player? I think he can be, right? Because we signed him and we didn't sign the likes of Kamavinga or, Amadou Onana. So looks like there is a player in there. But for me, the standards at Arsenal right now are developing quickly and fast, right? You either have to match up with the likes of Saka, Odegaard, and all those players that are developing at a fast pace, or you're going to have to make way. And I think that's what's happening to Albert Sambi Lokonga. But with Nuno Tavares and the amount of work he's put in at Marseille, if he wants to stay for us at Arsenal, if he wants to play for Arsenal, I think he deserves a chance. I really, really do think he deserves a chance anyway. But Gary Jacob says Arsenal are likely to offload both of them. I would keep Nuno Tavares for another season, right? I think he's improved tremendously at Marseille. Maybe another loan deal would work for us, but look, I think Lokonga is one where we will make good money, probably 30 million. Anyone can give us that money. Nuno Tavares, we signed for around 20 million. Actually 10 to 15 million. I think that's one where Arsenal again can get around 30 to 35. So we might make a good profit on them. But how about keeping Nuno Tavares? I want your thoughts here. How about keeping Nuno Tavares at Arsenal? For me, that would be massive, right? That would be massive because this coming transfer window, we have a lot to deal with. We have a lot to talk about, especially in terms of the midfield and and the attack. So I think our focus should be there, right? I think that's where our focus should be. But I'll see you in the next one. Hit the like button. What do you think about the stories we've discussed in this part of the podcast? And cheers.